Welcome to the History Makers, the show that brings you top acts, top talent, top musicians across Africa and the world. And today, I'm privileged to host one of the most beautiful girls in the industry, a pioneer in the early 2002 and 2003. You've heard Mosmos, the song Issa. So we want to commemorate Issa 20th anniversary. So I'm with none other than Brenda Ngesa. The girl who did great things. Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
How have you been?
I'm very well. And yourself?
I'm okay.
Yeah, it's been forever.
Many years.
I know.
Are you still singing, or you stopped and you forgot about music?
I still have the passion for music, but
Yes.
I stopped. Officially stopped, but yeah. You know, when you have the music bug, it just stays in you throughout,
But
even if you're not singing.
So tell me, we want to remember Issa 20 years since his passing on, and
Yeah.
you're the biggest song Issa did where people knew was Mosmos, and you're the one who featured in that song.
Yeah.
How was it creating that music? How was it creating Mosmos?
Mosmos.
Yes.
It was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I don't think I was supposed to be on the album.
Yeah.
I don't, because by the time I was coming into Ogopa DJs,
Yes.
I'd done a small demo tape with Waire,
Yes.
and I had actually taken it to Blue Zebra Studios.
Yes.
And so when when Blue Zebra closed for Christmas,
Yes.
I used the audio that I'd recorded with Waire and used it as a demo tape.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wasn't in the picture from the beginning. I just came in when the album was probably like 3/4 done. And so they decided,
Can you try?
wake up this chick inside there.
So how was Issa in the first day? You are a South Sea girl,
Not really, no, I'm not a South Sea girl.
but you lived there.
No, I didn't live in South Sea. I grew up in Pangani, and at that particular time,
Yeah.
I was staying in Ruruta with my mom. Yes.
How did
so,
you?
how I got now to South Sea was much later on, but I didn't grow up in South Sea. But a lot of people think that because of the song that we did. But I'm not a South Sea girl.
If you are a Ruta girl to South Sea, how surely?
Ruruta satellites, yes. I stayed in Ruruta.
So how was Issa that first time you guys met and you took it off? Like,
Yeah.
we want to do this song. What was it like?
So I wasn't, when I met Issa, I actually met him and Nameless together. And
Yes.
at that particular point, I was called into the studio by Lucas
Yes.
of Ogopa DJs.
Bikelo,
And
yes.
Lucas Bikelo. And so at that particular time is how we met. But we didn't sit down and talk and say, oh, you're going to be in my song. It's actually Lucas who called me about 2 weeks after the meeting and told me, hey, do you know you're supposed to be on a song with Issa? And I'm like, what? Really? Okay. That's how it works. So it's not Issa who asked me to be in the song. I was actually told, come to the studio.
So
Yeah.
that was 2002?
2002, yeah.
2002.
Yes.
And then when the song came out, by that time had you decided that I want to get into this music industry?
Yes. I mean, that's why I had gone initially to Blue Zebra, and then I came now this side when they had closed for the festive season. So I'd always had a passion for music, and I remember we were even talking with my best friend when I was in high school. I used to tell people, like, you better get my autograph because I'm going to be famous and I'm going to feel sweet.
You used to tell Kinarowena?
Yes, I used to tell them. She's a witness. And so it actually happened that way. So I knew I always wanted to do music from way back. Yeah.
So how did you, then you left Ogopa, or Ogopa never signed you?
Ogopa DJs, yeah.
Then you did a song with Bebe Cool and
yeah.
and Nameless?
Yes, so the song, I was a featured artist on it was Bebe Cool's album. And so at that particular time, it was a random thing. We were in the studio and then they were like, oh, come do the chorus. And that's how we did it. The song is called Bad Boys. Bad Boys, me, Bebe Cool, Nameless.
So how, the lyrics of Mosmos, why did you decide to sing in Luo?
I did decide. Issa wrote everything.
Issa wrote everything?
Issa wrote everything. So when I was called and told, hey, you're supposed to do a song with Issa, come to the studio. I remember that time, it was so funny. Every Saturday in my mom's house, we have to do general cleaning. It was a Saturday, and there was no way you would leave my mother's house without doing general cleaning. And I remember when I was given the phone call, it was on a Saturday, and I asked my mom for permission, and lo and behold, she said yes. And so that's how we wound up going there. But by the time I reached there, Issa had already written the song, so I was just to learn the song, and that's how we wound up actually going. You know, at that particular time, Ogopa DJs didn't have their own studio.
Yes, they did.
So we used to go and record in South B. There was in the shopping center, there was a studio. Yes. Yes. So for you, because they had to book studio time, you can't go and start practicing the song in the studio. Yes. Time. Money. So we had to go learn the song. Issa had to teach him the song, and so we actually went to his house in South Sea. And I remember that time his mom was there. There was like I think she was having like friends over and stuff. And so we wound up going to his room because there was no other place to rehearse. So we wound up going to his room, and I remember when I entered his room, I was telling him, dude, you're such a star, because his bed was written Issa, like the
with the knee.
Yes. I thought that was so cool. You know, I was like young. So I thought that was so cool. But yeah, he had written everything by the time I was coming into the picture.
So how was the relationship then after that? After the song came out, you and Issa?
Now it was nice. I remember there's a time he was performing at Carnival, you know, just to hype the song, hype the album. And he called and asked me to come and perform, you know, and I was so scared because, you know, I was new to this, but for them, they had been on stage, you know, him and Nameless, they'd been on stage, so I was like, what? You're telling me now, like I come now? So he just started laughing. I was telling him I don't even know what to wear. I don't know, but he was so easy. He understood. You know, stage fright. This chick is a newcomer. So he laughed about it. But then he told me, next time you make sure there's no saying no next time. The next time I'm calling, you're coming. I was like, yeah.
So did you ever do a song with him on stage?
No, because a week later he passed on. So
how did you receive the news of his passing on?
I got a phone call from Lucas of Ogopa DJs. You've met Lucas.
Yeah, no, Lucas.
You know there is some seriousness with him.
Yes.
So when he actually called, what I actually thought he was laughing, but later on I realized he was crying. But it didn't occur to me because of how I knew him. You know, he's very
strict.
Yes. So he's the one who told me, like, Issa has just died. And I was like, I remember telling him, stop joking. And his words were, would I joke about something like this? And he hung up the phone. And I think I was still in shock because my family was there. They asked me what's wrong. I think they could just see the change, the immediate change. And he was like, I think I was really struggling to believe when I told my family. I struggled to believe it. It really hit me when I saw when we switched on TV and then you could see it streaming down. Yeah, after about 30 minutes is when we saw that.
That Issa has passed on.
Yeah, so I think that's when it really sunk in, like, oh my God.
So, and also at that time, you had worked with Nameless. Nameless was in hospital at that time. I
hadn't worked with Nameless. Like, you know, when you're recording in the studio, you don't record like, this person comes, unaingia, then the next. No, you can record even in different days. So we never got into the studio at any one point. Yeah, even with Bebeku. But the song was put together.
So you recorded alone?
Separate,
Lucas works his baseline magic.
Magic, yes. So you don't have to wait for this person. The only time we did that was, in my experience, was now with Issa when we did Mosmos. Because that one, Issa recorded his part, and then now it was for me to sing. So that's the only time we were like together in the studio. Yeah.
So after that, you did your own songs.
Yes.
Of course, I like Good for Nothing.
He's just so good for nothing. He's just so good for nothing. He's just so good. yeah, but I gotta say for nothing. He's just so good for nothing. Nobody wants to get with me. He's just so good for nothing. All that shame on me. He's just so good, yeah, but I gotta say for nothing. Oh, I know you like what you see, and I know you wanna get with me. I know you wanna take, I know you wanna have it. Come slowly, I don't mean to sound skeptical. No boy, don't get me wrong. You got a good girl, I need something. You got your eyes on me. He's just so good for nothing. Nobody wants to get with me. He's just so good for nothing. All that shame on me. He's just so good, yeah, but I gotta say for nothing. The last time that I checked, well, boy, you came with a girl in the club. I must admit that I think you're cute, but boy, that's where it starts. I know you want me, but you need her. I sacrifice myself, you should keep her. You got a good girl, but it's not fair. You got your eyes on me. He's just so good for nothing. He's just so good for nothing. All that shame on me. He's just so good, yeah, but I gotta say for nothing. It's just so good for nothing. Nobody wants to get with me. He's just so good for nothing. All that shame on me. He's just so good, yeah, but I gotta say for nothing.
There's I need a man.
I need a man, you recorded me too.
I need a man. The two producers I've used, of course, Sogo Padiches and RK, Robert Kimanzi. Yeah.
I need a man who will understand me. Kutoka juu hadi chini, kimwili hata akili. I need a man who will understand me. Kutoka juu hadi chini, kimwili hata akili. Namtaka chali moja mrefu msawa awe mwembamba. I wanna feel it when he touches me. Wanna feel it when he looks at me. Ukiwa naye ni mimi tu. Mimi wake naye. Man who will understand me. Kutoka juu hadi chini, kimwili hata akili. Man who will understand me. Kutoka juu hadi chini, kimwili hata akili. Mimi naye hatutakuwa na uongo baina yetu. There'll be no cheating, no secret, no reason to regret. Ukiwa naye ni mimi tu. Yeah. Mimi wake naye. Man who will understand me. Kutoka juu hadi chini, kimwili hata akili. Man who will understand me. Kutoka juu hadi chini, kimwili hata akili. Man who will understand me. Kutoka juu hadi chini, kimwili hata akili. Man who will understand me. Kutoka juu hadi chini, kimwili hata akili.
What was the reason behind I Need a Man? That time you're working. I will not say where.
Yes, please don't say. It was fun. I thought it was something controversial. And here's the funny thing. All my songs are written by men. Yes, Kolo wrote for me. There was another guy.
Kolo wrote which one?
Kolo did, I believe, Need a Man. Y was written by RK. The other one was written by Marsha. He used to be in Okopa DJs as well. All the songs have been written by men. So we just thought it would be a fun thing to do, but I think people were like, this chick, I need a man. Yeah. So it wasn't actually personal, actually I need a dude. We thought it would be fun.
So I think that one was like 2009. You took a break after Mosmos. You took a long sort of break. Were you going to college or something?
I started working at the time.
Yes.
So I had to now concentrate on that because the kind of work that I do, in and out of the country. And so, as an artist, you have to, it's nice to be on the ground so that you can practice a lot if you have bands and everything. So it became very tricky for me to continue with music as I got into corporate.
So you were now your music became a side hustle.
Technically, yes.
So you said you grew up in Ruta. I didn't know
Yes.
you grew up in Ruta.
Yes, I did.
Which school did you go to?
So I finished my primary school in Aga Khan, and then in high school I was in Buruburu Girls, and then I went to college in Uganda, and I did journalism and media management.
What are you doing in there? Let me not ask.
I should be here.
Yeah, you should be here.
I should be here with you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you doing up there in there? Yeah.
Maybe I'll come. Maybe I'll come and
No,
join you
now
guys.
you can't hack it.
Yeah.
So how has life treated you, and how did you know Issa and the generation of musicians of that time and now? What do you
Sorry?
see? The generation, your musical generation, that's when Kenyan music was really popping up.
I know. The energy was just different
Yes.
at that time. I think guys were just excited that Kenyans, we were coming up with our own sound
Yes.
at the time. So guys, there was just a nice energy, a nice vibe going around. And I think when Kenyan artists were coming up, people were very, very supportive. So it was a nice environment to find myself in, luckily, at that particular time.
And to be a star at that time.
Yeah, star? Was I a star? I don't know. Yeah.
So after that, you went back into corporate. You're still in corporate.
Yes. Still working.
But you, personally, have you moved the ladders, married, 5 children?
That question. No, I'm not married and I don't have any children. Niko solo too.
Are you sure?
Very sure, 100%.
Miss Ngesa,
Miss, yes.
you know, we are not sure whether you are still...
Why are you doubting my answers?
because
I'm very single, yeah.
So, what is the next plan of your music going forward?
Music. In all honesty, I feel I sort of lost my passion for music. I think in hindsight, that happened during that time, but I didn't realize it. And I think because, after Issa's passing, that shock, you're a new artist, and then K-Rap helped me perform the song on stage during the Tumefika concert, and then he gets shot. Later on, it was a bit traumatic, but I don't know. I love music. I don't know if I'll pursue it again. Maybe. We do have a few songs with RK that are unreleased. About 3-4 songs that are unreleased. So maybe one day.
When K-Rap was shot, how did you receive the news?
I actually saw it on TV. Yeah, that one I saw on TV, and that was a shocker. I wasn't expecting it, and I grew to like K-Rap because he was this jumpy, bubbly person.
Yes.
Always like he would just make life easy for everyone.
Yes.
And I remember even when I was telling him like I'm so scared to go on stage, because he was like, no, you do this, just on stage, when you get on stage, just tembea, just walk around. If you see that video of the Tumefika concert,
Where is it?
you should be having it in your archives. I'm just walking up and down the stage, because Kerem told me that, like, if you don't know what to do, just tembe just on the stage, you know. So it really felt bad. He was a cool guy. So
He had a lot of energy though.
So much. He was so fun. Like when I think of him, I think of fun and just laughing, because he was also a very funny guy. So yeah, that was also.
Did you go for the funeral?
Yes.
In Nairobi or the village?
No, here.
So have you ever? You didn't plan to do anything with Habib, Issa's brother, or some manga that generation?
No, because after that, now when I started working, it became a bit tricky, and yeah, that's when I stopped doing music for some time. But I did perform the song with him, like when we go do shows in Mombasa. I did with Habib and Manga on stage. They would do Issa's part.
Yes.
Yeah. So we did a few shows.
Concerts together.
Yeah, but not like recorded our own song, me and him.
You didn't. The company didn't ask you why are you performing and you are still in corporate?
No, it was just before then.
Oh.
Just before I joined.
Before you joined.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to pursue this thing seriously?
I did.
Yes.
I did.
But?
There was a but, yes.
Money and...
Money, yes.
Or is it your parents?
No, my parents, my mom was very supportive, very. At the time, of course, I was living with my mom. I grew up in a single parent home. And so she was very supportive. Otherwise, she wouldn't have allowed me to leave the general cleaning to go and record a song instead of cleaning the house. So she was very supportive. My mom used to actually want to do music, but her mom, my grandma, my late grandma, you know that time, you know, the generation of that time, it's like you have to go to work, you have to do this. So she wasn't allowed to do music. So I feel in that way, she wanted me to do it. So she was very supportive, always supportive.
Because you were doing things she was not allowed to do.
Yes, yeah. So she would not stand in the way, no.
So if I want us to move to the other bit, but I want us also to get, if you are told today to go back to music and do your music, would you do it differently?
Would I do it differently? Differently how? I think now the environment has changed.
Yes.
So obviously you have to adapt to the environment and what's happening now. So yeah, I mean, I would do things differently. And right now we also have the platforms are there. You know, at the time, we really didn't have like social media where you can go and release your song. You had to go to a studio. I mean, yeah, like a radio station. You had to know DJs and stuff to be able to distribute your music, because we don't really have a distribution system here. Yeah, so yeah, things would be different, but in a good way.
How have you managed to keep off scandals?
Scandals?
In this industry?
Because I'm not scandalous. I'm not a scandalous person. Yes, so...
Hakuna boyfriend?
Hakuna.
Are you sure?
Mbona unaniuliza hivyo? Ama...
I'll ask Rowena outside.
Ask her, she'll tell you the truth.
Since it's Issa Memorial, if you look at Issa's life, how you connected, what do you think was his greatest impact that he left and legacy?
Just inspiring people to do music. You know, he wasn't worried of what people will think, you know, the way sometimes we second guess ourselves. And I think just encouraging people, it doesn't matter if you're young or whatever it is, just go do what your heart desires. I think for me, that was the biggest impact that he had. Not being afraid to be different, you know, to promote authentic Kenyan music. Yeah. And
how long, when you're in Ogopa together, of course Ogopa didn't have a studio, they went in Mike Black's studio.
Yeah.
Do you think Issa was the main person who brought Ogopa to where it was, or is it Nameless? Because they were at the same time.
It was the same.
Yeah.
I think both, because Nameless was before.
Yes.
He came before Issa.
Yeah.
I think they worked together, and Ogopa's brand became bigger and bigger because of both of them. And also the strategy that Ogopa used, you know, having artists and releasing hit after hit. So I think all of that in synergy worked. It worked well for the brand, and yeah, I mean, Issa definitely had an influence with that.
And you didn't do so many videos. Why didn't you shoot the video for Mosmos?
No videos at that time. Did you see even when the quality of videos at that time? You can't even compare. If you saw even Issa's Sare videos, yeah, guys weren't really doing videos at that particular time. They didn't really have a video production place that you could go to. Guys started much later on, so no, we didn't manage to do a video. It would have
How
been
many songs did you shoot your videos? You shoot videos for?
Mine?
Yeah, yours.
Mine are only 2. So it's Good for Nothing and one that's called Why.
So how do you always keep yourself young? What are you using?
What am I using?
You are there in 2002.
Yeah.
We are in 2023.
2023, 20 years later.
Yes.
Yeah.
20 years later.
Well, it wasn't always like this. It was like this.
What do you mean it was like this?
I've yo-yoed, I've gone up and down weight, I've gone to 98 kilos and back. But now I just adopted a healthier lifestyle. So right now I mostly eat plant-based food, mostly vegetarian food. So I think it's healthy.
Thank you for watching. This is our first part with Madam Brenda Ngesa. We are commemorating 20 years of Issa and the collaboration they did. Of course, Mosmos was one of the biggest songs of the generation. Keep watching.